Greetings and welcome to the Student Government and Student Trustee Information Session. My name is Will Kirby. My preferred pronouns are he, him, his. I serve as the Assistant Dean of Students and the current advisor to our Student Government Association. My email is wjkirby@bhcc.edu. Just sharing that so that if there's any questions after today's session, you have that to be able to send me those questions, and hopefully I can help answer them as quickly as possible. The goals for today's info session is to share SGA and student trustee officer position descriptions, to review the nomination, campaign, and election policies and procedures, to review the nomination through elections timeline, and to answer any questions you might initially have at the end of the session. Here are some quick bullets just to identify the various different student government positions, as well as the student trustee. What's really important is that many of them have a lot of commonalities, and part of that being is that they attend the regularly scheduled SGA meetings, they maintain office hours, and they serve on campus-wide committees. But to our SGA president, their main responsibility is that they run all of our SGA meetings. They serve as the spokesperson as well as a representative for the organization, both internally and externally. And so internally meaning at the college, and externally external to the college. And they attend regular meetings with their advisor, the dean of students, and with the BHCC president. And so they have not only a voice for our students, but they also have a place at the table to meet with some really prominent individuals at the college. Our SGA Vice President of Administration provides leadership and oversight to processes involving budget, finance, and for SGA, but also for student clubs and organizations. They represent the SGA president in their absence, so they're kind of like the vice president of sorts, and they chair the SGA Budget Committee. The Student Government Association Vice President of Human Resources coordinates elections, recruitment, onboarding, and appointment processes for vacant officer positions. They provide leadership to constitutional and SGA position update processes. Currently this year, the SGA has been working this whole year on looking at the Constitution and proposing some updates. So when we run elections this year, it's their intent to also have the student body vote on an updated proposed Constitution. And so this position really was key in regards to that process. The Student Government Association Vice President of Student Affairs is our liaison for all student issues pertaining to student life. They serve as a liaison between all student clubs and organizations and the Student Government Association, and they also assist with the coordination of the Chill series, which when we were on campus, almost happened weekly in the D Lounge on campus. It was really kind of like a study break program series. And so we're doing some virtual ones this semester. And this position helped to coordinate that, and it's done a lot of them in collaboration with clubs and organizations at the college. The SGA Vice President of Academic Affairs is our liaison for all student issues pertaining to academic life. And they represent student concerns pertaining to academic support services and resources. Our SGA Vice President of Communications is our liaison for all public relation activities for SGA, and they coordinate and publicize the activities of the SGA to the college community and to the college students. SGA Associate Vice President of the Chelsea campus is our liaison for students taking classes at the Chelsea campus. This position, as well as our Associate Vice President for the H building, are positions that are a little bit interesting this year as we've been predominantly remote, but as we look to the fall, we're looking to bring a lot more classes on campus. And the Chelsea campus has seen a little bit more activity than the H building, particularly because of our allied health programs, and a lot of those have had some in-person lab training courses. So, so this position is really ideal in one, connecting that campus and being a voice for those students. And so they'll also serve as a liaison, as I said, for the voice of the interest of the students taking classes on the Chelsea campus. It's also, and again, this is not a requirement, but it is a benefit if the person running for this position is taking at least a class on the Chelsea campus during their term of office, just because it helps with their accessibility and being able to be on the ground on the Chelsea campus, just to be able to see what life is like there, to be able to meet with students safely, following our guidelines, and being able to kind of hear what they're looking for to help bring ideas back to the SGA. And then I talked a little bit briefly, but there's also the SGA Associate Vice President of the H Building. This position serves as a liaison for students taking classes at the H Building, kind of like the Chelsea campus position, and serves as a liaison for the voice of the interest of the students taking classes at the H Building to SGA. Again, this is not a requirement, but it is a benefit of the position should the person in this office as the H Building rep to have a class in the H Building, just again to have a presence there and to be able to kind of be visible for students on that in the H Building campus. The SGA Executive Secretary is a position I feel that is understated. It's definitely a position that has a lot more responsibility than I think people are aware of. They really serve as a liaison for all issues pertaining to SGA correspondence and record keeping. They really keep the SGA in line in regards to following meeting rules, getting an agenda ready, and also keeping all records from meetings, from decisions made, all of that, but very, very important. They also develop meeting agendas with the SGA president, so they do a lot of conversing and meeting outside of meetings just to prepare for each weekly meeting. And they also keep the meeting minutes. And they, like every other position in SGA, also serve on campus-wide committees. The SGA Senator at Large, we actually have 5 senators that are part of our SGA. They, like all of the other officers, they attend all SGA meetings. They maintain weekly office hours. They work with the appropriate SGA vice presidents on special projects. And so there's a lot of subcommittees within SGA that our senators work closely with the vice presidents in regards to serving on. And then they too serve on campus-wide committees. Student Trustee attends all SGA and Board of Trustee meetings. They serve as a liaison between both organizations, so between the Board of Trustees and the SGA. They attend the Student Advisory Council and other statewide meetings, and this is a council that is comprised of representatives, so Board of Trustees members and college SGA presidents from all 15 community colleges and some of the state universities and universities of Massachusetts. So, so they meet as a statewide organization to monthly, just to kind of talk about what's going on in the individual campuses, but also to talk about statewide initiatives. And one of them being this year, they really worked to change the student trustee position, which used to be required to be a full-time student. It's now been reduced to part-time student status. And part of that having to do with equity and recognizing that it's really difficult for many students to be eligible to run for the position because of their outside responsibilities and not being able to be a full-time student. And they too also maintain weekly office hours and serve on campus-wide committees. The campus-wide activities, just to be a little bit more explicit in regards to what that could entail, the college has a larger governance called our forum that meets monthly. And then the forum actually has subcommittees. And for each one of the subcommittees of the forum, they also meet once a month. There's an SGA representative on each and every one of those forum subcommittees. And what's beneficial is that for many of our SGA vice presidents, their title connects nicely to individual subcommittees, whether it be communication, whether it be professional development, academic affairs. A lot of those pieces really tie to a lot of our, there's also a student life or a student affairs subcommittee. So, our our SGA officers are all represented in all of those committees. And then in addition to that, our SGA officers and student trustee are commonly asked to serve on search committees, meeting with candidates for very pertinent, important positions on campus, being able to be a voice in committees that have to deal with construction. There's new construction happening on campus with changes in policies. There's a lot of different opportunities, but our Student Government Association is usually tapped first and thought of first to kind of serve on a lot of those committees, because there are students who've been elected by our student body to represent the student voice. And so with that, being asked to be that voice, to be at the table, to be able to represent students, to be part of those conversations. So this is actually from our current constitution for SGA, but membership eligibility for a student to be on the Student Government Association is any student who pays the required college fees and is registered for class at the HTC is a member of our student association. To be an elected officer or the student trustee, you must be enrolled for at least 6 credit course load hours, part-time status, have a 2.3 GPA cumulative, and be in good standing as defined by the college and maintain the status during the terms of your office. In order for candidates to run for office, students must submit a statement that's just 1 to 2 pages long in 12-point font, which should detail the following: your name, what position you're running for, the role you believe SGA should have in the student life at Bunker Hill, why you are running for office, and what you hope to contribute if elected, which will be posted as part of your election ballot. And again, this is something you'll be submitting electronically. I'll send you a link after today's session. But this is just kind of basically your campaign item. The next, you submit a photograph, just kind of a headshot, preferably 150 DPI in a JPEG format, which will be posted as part of the election ballot. This will also be posted on the elections website, just for people looking at candidates to be able to kind of identify not only a name, position you're running for, but be able to see your face. And so then again, that'll also be used in the election ballot. So when people are submitting their votes, they'll be able to kind of see who it is that they're voting for. We also ask for individuals just to submit a video introduction of up to 2 minutes. Nothing to be stressed over, but this is also be posted either online or with the ballot. Just to introduce yourself to students and you declare your intent to run for office. Do not use any copyright material or any background music. Format can be VMOV or MP4. Again, and this could also be, you sharing information from your candidate statement, just to help connect students to why you're running for office. You attend a candidate information session, which you're attending right now, or make an appointment to meet with the director of student leadership engagement, or with myself. Primarily, and actually it will be with myself, the assistant dean of students. You receive notice from the director of student leadership and engagement that they have been approved. So once you've completed all the parts of your application and submitted it by April 27th, the director of student leadership and engagement will follow back with you to let you know that you're eligible to run and that you can begin your campaign process. And then to continue on for office, as was mentioned previously, you just need to be enrolled in at least 6 credits, have a 2.3 GPA cumulative, be in good standing as defined by the college, and maintain the status during the term of office. And then candidates for student trustee must be enrolled, and that's actually part-time. And so that's a minimum of 6 credits. And that's changed again. That's new for next year. So here's some campaign, just information in regards to policies and procedures. All candidates running for office for the Student Government Association must adhere to the following campaign and election policies and procedures. Voting will take place May 5th to May 7th, 2021. Every registered BHCC student will receive a link in their email with a personalized to their email, so they can only vote once. That will be sent, and then they will have the ability to vote starting Wednesday, May 5th at noon through to Friday, May 7th at noon. And so there's a 48-hour window for students to be able to cast their vote from the comfort of their home or wherever they're at. Results will be announced if all goes well on Friday, May 7th in the afternoon. Hopefully at 2 p.m. we'll try to schedule an announcement through WebEx. A landing page will be created that will include information from all the candidates, so your photo, your statement, and then your videos, so that people, when voting, will be able to look and see information about you as a candidate and the position you're running for. Posting a campaign online must still follow all certain etiquette and protocol, and then permission must be requested and granted first before any posting is done. And that's just making sure that your materials have been cleared through the Office of Student Engagement and Leadership. Additional campaign information. When referring to the position you're running for, the title of the position must be preceded by the letters SGA. And that's just for clarity for a student to know that you're running for Student Government Association, because just so you're aware, at the same time, there are some students who may be running for office within clubs and organizations. And we also want to make sure any candidates running for president of SGA aren't confused with running for the president of the college, just for clarity. The order upon which candidates will be placed on the ballot will be alphabetical. That's just to show that there'll be no preference and that there is some order, but just to make sure that there is a system in regards to why candidates are placed in the order. It has nothing to do with preference. It's just because of how their name falls in the alphabet. All publicity and conduct of all parties involved in the election and voting process must be kept at a professional level. The content of campaigns and publicity items should focus on the issue and not the individuals involved. And so really it's talking about your platform, why you're running for office, and what you're hoping to achieve in office. Nothing about other parties involved. The content and materials and conduct of all parties involved shall not infringe upon any other student's rights and must follow the standards of appropriateness as outlined in the Student Code of Conduct, which is available in our student handbook. Additional policies of the election in regards to policies and procedures. All candidates and others who campaign on their behalf must conduct themselves in accordance with the college rules and regulations and comply with the student campaign and election policies and procedures. And this being and to be understood that candidates running may have friends who are really supportive of them and their candidacy, and they may take part in regards to your campaign and encouraging others to vote for you. But by doing that, they're an extension of you and your candidacy. So it's really important that they, because they're representing you, they have to follow the rules of the campaign. And so if they're in violation, that's a violation for you. So just make sure that, you know, anyone who's really excited about you as a candidate knows that they have to be appropriate at all times, especially when they're talking about your candidacy. Violations reported will be addressed through the appropriate college officials. Students found in violation, there may be subject to disciplinary action or may be disqualified. So just to be honest, that's not happened in the last few years. And so I just want to make sure that we stick with that. But we want to make sure that it's a clean campaign, that people have fun, and that we're appropriate. It's important to note that when you're running for office, you're running for yourself and your position and what position you're running for. We don't have people running teams. We don't have, you know, a president, a student trustee, and a vice president of a specific office run on a campaign together. It's by individual because our SGA represents our entire student body and not individuals who are connected through their program of study or friendships or what have you. We want to make sure that people know that that our SGA is inclusive, and so everyone running is running for themselves and not running to be part of a team, individuals or a team of friends. You're going to be a team clearly at the end of the process, but we want you to know you're running as an individual. Although student activities, because we're virtual, won't be providing paper copies of election materials, they are available to assist folks, anyone running for office, to help with design or helping with answering questions and just making sure that you have what you need to be successful. Disqualification or suspension of campaigning may result if the candidate violates, again, college policy and procedure and rules and regulations of student campaign and election policies and procedures. Any concerns reports must be reported to the Director of Student Leadership and Engagement and or staff person in student activities. The activities that could lead to a person being in violation would be campaign material that has not been approved by student activities that's posted, campaigning while working on behalf of BHCC remotely, sabotaging another candidate's campaign, interfering while students are communicating to another candidate, defacing another candidate's poster or materials, directly or indirectly slandering, libeling, or harassing a candidate or people campaigning on their behalf. Inappropriate contact with students, and using a personal and or computer or electronic device as a voting device. And just to make that a little clearer, and this is something that has happened in the past, which is why this rule is here, is that we've had candidates who've been on campus during the 48 hours of the election who've asked students in the hallways, have you voted yet? And offered to use their computer, whether it be their computer, their tablet, their cell phone, to get that student to vote, and almost pressuring them to vote for them as a candidate. And so just being mindful of that, you should definitely encourage people to vote, but let them vote of their own accord and where they're able to do it on their own. They should be using their personal devices to vote, because it looks almost like that you're asking them to vote for them, or have them vote for you. Sorry. Additional online communication in particular includes, but is not limited to, text messages, emails, postings to social networking sites, even posting on private pages. So just be mindful of that in your campaign. Campaigning cannot be done in virtual classrooms or virtual club meetings without first getting the permission of the instructor or club president. Permission needs to be received ahead of time, not 5 minutes before the class or meeting begins. The appropriate procedure is to request permission in advance so that the professor or the club leader has the time to decide. Showing up to the day of class or the meeting and making the request on site is not appropriate. Candidates and people campaigning on their behalf cannot interfere with the normal business of students or their use of college resources. Candidates need to be extra mindful this year given the remote nature within which the academic instruction and delivery of student support services delivered. Any interruption in the normal flow of business or use of college resources is subject to being sanctioned by the Director of Student Leadership and Engagement. Student Activities reserves the right to cancel or repeat elections at any time based upon violation of college policies, procedures, rules, and regulations. That was a lot. I recognize that. And again, that's why the slides will be available at a later time for you to continue to review that information. But it's just really important. We want to make sure that everyone has a good experience with the campaign process. Here's just a breakdown of the timeline, just to make it easier. So starting this week, nominations started with the info session, so Tuesday through Thursday, April 27th, actually Thursday. And actually through Tuesday, April 27th. So starting Tuesday of this week all the way through Tuesday, April 27th. The info sessions started on Tuesday of this week. This is the last in-person info session. And then starting on Friday, April 16th, students will be able to see a video of the info session today. And we'll be able to watch that through to Tuesday, April 27th. And that is so that students who were not able to make it to one of the remote timed info sessions are able to do so asynchronously from their home at a later time or date that fits their schedule. The deadline to apply for your candidacy is Tuesday, April 27th. Campaigning will begin as soon as your candidate eligibility is verified by the Director of Student Leadership and Engagement, which will either happen for many on the 27th, potentially into the 28th. Elections again will be May 5th starting at noon and go till May 7th starting or ending May 7th at noon. And then the results will hopefully be posted on Friday, May 7th at 2 p.m. Now, I'm going to pause the recording and offer up the ability